This is your daily market recap for Monday, April 11th, 2022. Let's get into it. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is my stock, Bitcoin, gold, and silver daily market recaps. Please subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Monday, April 11th, 2022. Let's get into it. As always, start off in the Discord room. I'm doing the recap a little earlier today. It is 1:25 Mountain Time, so we'll be closing in 30 minutes. But I just wanted to get into it because I have some things to do, and I didn't want to drop this later. Again, if you have any questions about the video, concerns, thoughts, want to learn, need help, check out the side rooms, check out the Discord room. Again, link is in the description below. Always here to help. Keep in mind, I am posting stuff on Twitter constantly as well for live alerts. Let's get into Bitcoin because I was kind of expecting this, but can't say it's going to happen until it happens. I talked about, I did not like this action. We're getting into the volume at price zone, and we just didn't go anywhere. Hold on, this will... And when it broke with a little bit of volume, but the key was that it just couldn't get follow through. Now again, Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do. Just, what did we say? Razor stops. Maybe it comes back down to the lows. Maybe it comes back to this low. Gotta have stops, friends. You gotta have stops because support equals resistance, and when you break support, you gotta go lower, potentially. Anyway, I mean, the whole market in itself, I'm expecting, if you're paying attention, I'm expecting a liquidation break in the market completely and bonds to be bought at some point. Speaking of bonds, wow. I haven't seen bearishness in the bond market this strong for, I can't remember. I don't remember the last time we had a straight line move like that. I mean, at least this was like choppy and then it went. This has been more of a straight line move. Like this is in... Again, it's one of those trades where I still think rates will go lower because, again, the thesis ultimately is the central banks can't live with higher rates. They will liquidate the market to get money to flow into bonds before they'll let rates just rise on their own. Keep in mind, there is a ton of issues with the fiscal deficit, and if you raise interest rates on ourselves, good God, I mean, we can't even afford the interest as it is. And so, again, if you're trading long enough, you will be wrong. You will be wrong on things. You have stops. You have a plan. Just keep in mind, we are getting into like the oh shit phase of meltdown. CPI is tomorrow. Check out the monthly. I posted this on Twitter. Here are my trend lines. We're coming into them. So if you're not... Here, let me fix this one. I apologize. Boop, boop. If you're not sure where things are going, I would think we are going to bottom here. It's kind of wild how we're chopping around. And again, I mean, I anticipate higher rates over time, but also don't think that the market is rationalizing how fast the Feds will actually raise. If anything, the Feds, what are they going to do? They're going to probably do less than more. Just keep that in mind. Sorry to rant on that, but I mean, again, that's when you're wrong, you're wrong. You need to see why. And the only reason why I think, let me go back to it, I think that it's getting worse ultimately is because of the time period, what's going on. Like you can see here, hit the 20-day, you fail. Now that everybody is getting super fearful of bonds, the acceleration, it probably gets stronger as everyone's freaking the F out. And that's normal. Just keep that in mind. You know, this could have been a bottom if people weren't too worried, but as soon as you gap down and you start making lower lows, everybody's talking about 5% interest rates in the mortgage market. That is interesting to me because, again, I haven't seen the bearishness in bonds like we're seeing in forever. The dollar... I'm kind of seeing something here. Hold on. I'm wondering if we're getting close. Yeah, you can draw channels and, I don't know, upper trend bounds if needed. I look at the dollar right now. Again, it's going higher. That's defensive to me. You know, people buy the dollar when there's defensiveness or potential market shocks, deflation, all that stuff. At this point, the TLT and the dollar disconnect is a little bit of a, you know, they don't correlate one-to-one, but it's when the dollar gets volatile, that's when you get aware of it. The VIX, we said, you know, on Twitter, talked about this. Let me draw it for friends and family. This is a W pattern. Oh, whoa. Sorry, that is not a good W. That is not a good W. But anyway, you can see it here. Double bottom, whatever you want to call it. We've said this multiple times that this VIX termination, as I was calling it, was gonna get bought because it was too fast, down too fast. VIX got crushed. There's a ton of shit going on in the world that is still not resolved. And if you are living under a rock, then you realize, like, yeah, the market's probably hasn't priced all that in. So just be aware. If you hear that purring, there's a cat around. Let's get into the SPY, because, you know, we sold, man, what did I sell? The 466. I meant the 465 calls on this novice gap. If you don't believe me, go back to the videos, watch this. And now what's happened? We said hold the 20-day was key. What happened? We professionally gapped. Notice these gap downs and then chop. I think that might be the game plan for the rest of the week, potentially, during OPEX. Gap down and chop. The only problem right now with the market is now you're breaking all the major moving averages, and you have lower highs. You check out the monthlies again. I guess it's a little too crowded for the monthlies. Check out the weekly. You can see, like, it's a left shoulder head. I mean, and again, the head can be a complex. You know, weeks. Keep that in mind. Like, stuff can happen over big time frames. And here's the right shoulder cracking. SpaghettiOs. Same thing with the Qs, because again, we sold the calls up here that are obviously going to zero, and we shorted the market on these pops. And same thing with the Qs. We got as close to 370 as we could. We didn't get the eventual, like, the top up here, but we got the retest, and I think we actually got it this day and then a little on the retest. I'll have to go through my trade log, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We talked about this area failing, another gap, and then chop, and then boom, another gap. Next support, 335. I mean, tech is, I hate to be pessimistic about tech long run, but I would not want to own it, because if you look at the charts and talked about the daily recaps, it does not look good. IWM breaking this little trend line, below this trend line, below the 50-day. This has been leading down. Keep in mind, this has been leading down. Looks like shit. That's all you really need to say on that. Gold. Oh man, Twitter is way too bullish. Everybody loves gold, and I'm just telling y'all, the seasonality of this is not good. And look at today's action. We gap up and we're red. Like, we can't even hold the highs. Again, watch the 20-day. I am trying to be honest about my long-term thoughts on it. I like gold long-term, but in short-term, I don't. I absolutely don't like the seasonality, because junior miners aren't following. Not all the miners are following. There looks like there's going to be a liquidation break in the market. And if that is the case, gold will get slacked, because there will be nothing safe. If margin calls come and the market gets smoked near term, gold will get sold. Same thing with silver. I mean, why is silver lagging so hard? I mean, this is the thing. I want to see silver back up near 24. It's at 23. I know we gapped over the 20-day, but look at this candle. This isn't bullish. GDX. I mean, I literally put out an alert, said, hey, please watch the 40 area. Look at that. Outside reversal potentially. Again, another sell signal. Now, the volume isn't great. We'll see. 20-day is your line in the sand. We've talked about that. Could it go higher? I think it could, but ultimately the seasonality just tells me chop, 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 chop. And here's my next biggest thing that I'm watching with this is that the GDXJ should be breaking out. It shouldn't be making lower highs. That to me is dangerous, because again, junior miners are the most leveraged to gold. If the market makers are accumulating and they want to create a markup, this thing should be making new highs. Let's get into some of the gold stocks. Again, I like AEM. It's been leading up off the lows, making higher highs, but look at this bar. Volume isn't great, but it's not bullish. Like, that could be an engulfing bar down. It means it goes back to the 20-day short term. AG, here's another one that I think should be up by 15, mid 14s. Like, it's not even close. PAAS. Where are you, PAAS? Brain is just scrambled here. It's not up near the highs. It's up at the highs, but failing again, potentially. Just that, this is the kind of stuff I want to see it get over these ranges here. It should be pulling over 30 like it's nothing. Check out Newmont again. Like, we're breaking out, but look what happens. We're getting these. We have like a potential M double top. Now, if that's the case, and Newmont is double topping, how do you trust the miners and metals? It's just hard. You can't. And so you throw the seasonality in there and you're like, leave it alone. That's what I'm doing. Letter X, not much to say. We told you sell it at 38. Said the M pattern. 20-day breaks. Goodbye. VALE, same kind of thing. It made a higher high, unfortunately. And then it island floating reversal. two gaps, a novice gap and then the pro gap. 20-day better holder. It's going lower. CCJ, some of these uranium names, they're holding up pretty well. Got to give them that. As I thought it was an M, it's getting kooky, but keep in mind, zoom out on the monthly. We're coming into 50% fib and old levels of resistance. I don't think it's going to break out. Again, all the material stories all sound very similar. And if everything looks like it's about to peel, watch out. Things might get melty. Man, Mosaic, we really wanted it to retest down here, and it didn't. Now you're getting like indecision at the highs. I don't know. These could be topping formations. Same thing with CF potentially, but also it looks more like an M. And so this is what, someone was asking, like, oh, I'm going to set my rules for hard and straight, and this is what it's got to be every time to make a short, and this is what it's got to be for the buy. It's just not that easy, y'all. Sometimes you get M tops. Sometimes it might be like the Mosaic. Like, this is tough because look what happens. Looks like you have a head and shoulders. You make a slightly higher high. What happens if it fails? And you're saying, well, I'll only short something if it does this. Well, okay, that's fine. I just don't believe that there's always one pattern. There's multiple patterns for topping, and they all have to do with just the probabilities. And you have to look at the overall market. You got to look at everything going on and say, okay, this is the strongest of the strong, but doesn't mean if the market's weak that it can't get fucking absolutely smashed. Just keep that in mind. CF, we went over. Nothing really else to say at that. Let's get into tech, because tech is where we are making absolute coin. We talked about this 125 selling calls. It could get to the trend line. Look what's happening. We are making new lows on a gap down. AMD, you are in trouble, my friend, because if this breaks, you have a date with the 70s, and not like 1970s, like the 70s price. Apple, what do we say? Gotta hold this 20, 100, 50-day cross. Now look what's happening. You gap below it, and look what's happening. I mean, everybody's like, I don't know about this. Apple looks like shit. We said this might be a bear market rally potential because the Qs, again, Qs are not leading up. Qs hate higher interest rates. Qs just don't like inflation at all, because think about tech companies. They're borrowing money to invest back in their own companies. When the rates go higher, they don't borrow as much, so they don't invest in much. And so they have to ultimately either do secondaries to raise money, or they don't just invest it in growth. And guess what? If they don't invest in growth, they don't deserve a growth multiple. I mean, this stuff is not rocket science. How tech, when the rotational season out, like the rotation out of it happens, you don't want to own it. Just no one will trust you until you see it for yourself. You have to live through a tech bubble. Again, you have to learn. You have to see, like, the markets, they bubble up. Like commodities had a bubble, housing had a bubble, tech had a bubble. It all just rotates around. MicroStrategy, better hold the 50-day. Just hit better, or it's gonna get destroyed, because they own a bunch of Bitcoin. We talked about Roblox, under the 20-day. I'm not touching it. Do not buy it. Wait till it gets over the 20-day. It's just that simple. PENN, talked about March Madness. That never happened. Lower lows, right back at the lows. I'm glad to see it bounce, but there's no volume. The stock could be dead. And when I say dead, it could go nowhere for a long period of time. Just be aware of that. UTHR, we said it probably could get up close to this, close enough for government work. Holding the 50-day, just be aware. Just be aware. Be aware what's going on here. Keep an eye on this, because if it comes back to the 20-day, it might be a buy. I mean, it's been acting well. EXPI, talked about it, like the hitting the monthly 50-month. Oh, man, what a gift. It got jumped on some pump piece. I mean, look at this volume at the lows. I think that's distribution that's ultimately leading to market makers going to take this higher. There's nothing wrong with the company. Let's end it on our favorite plays, drip, oil, short. Like, I've got a big short on the oil. And again, when someone says, oh, I'm waiting for this perfect top formation or this, no. Sometimes it plays out like this, choppy, sloppy. Could this be the drip, sloppy, choppy? I mean, keep in mind, this action, huge volume, and now we're dying on the vine, and everybody's bullish oil. And it's not catching a beat. We'll see. Again, you don't know for sure. It's worth a short, in my opinion, because guess what? The Feds want to raise interest rates and really scare money out of commodities. They need to bring oil down. You can see it in ExxonMobil. We talked about the higher highs that it made. Look at this little gap, and now you gap down. Like, this is what can be so hard. Like, this is a daily bull trap. Like it got over the highs, over the potential shoulder, and boom, comes right back down. Trading is tough, y'all. If you're going to put hard and fast rules on things, good luck. You just have to be more aware of everything else that's going on, because guess what? This might look bullish, but if the market starts failing, ExxonMobil ain't going to hold up. So trying to say that this is how it's going to do and this is what I needed to do, ultimately, you're pushing your beliefs onto the market. And same with TLT. Like, I am wrong. I mean, I can be wrong. Like, I think this is what the feds are, but guess what? I have stops. I don't have any stock. All I have now is some long dated calls and some puts that I sold that are down a little bit. I'll buy it when I need to, but this is extreme. But also keep in mind, you can be wrong. Trying to put, the square peg into the circle hole, and this is this and this. It's not that easy, friends. It is just not that easy. If you got questions, again, stop by the Discord room. Please slap a like on it if you've gotten this far, and also drop a comment. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the Discord room.
Thanks for watching. For more trading knowledge and insight, click on the videos on the right, and also join the Discord room. Link is in the description below. If you have any questions, please stop on by the Discord room and let's chat. Thank you.